Hello, everybody. It's Graham Cope with another My Music. It's my favourite time of the week. It's 4 o'clock on a Friday, which means you can put everything down. If you're working on all of that stuff, your boss has gone out the room. Don't worry. You can switch on your computer. You can just watch this. You probably already are. Otherwise, I'm talking to myself. In a minute, I'm going to be speaking to the wonderful Hollie, who's come to join us today. But first, we're going to watch a video which is primarily pink and black and more pink. Enjoy it. It's from Analog Trash. Hollie, as I said, thanks so much for joining me. I suppose the thing that I've really got to start by asking you is, are you doing okay?
I am. Are you doing okay?
I'm doing all right too. Now, see what I did there?
I did.
That's the title of your new EP. It's a great title because it's very empathetic. Are you quite an empathetic person?
I like to think so. I mean, the EP is about mental health. I mean, I've struggled with my mental health for a long time. So it's just kind of a way, like everyone struggles with mental health. It's just a way of showing that, you might think you're the only one, but you're not the only one that struggles.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's obviously something that not a lot of people want to talk about, but have to talk about, and that's the only way that they need to. If we don't talk about it, if we don't open up, then that's when things spiral. For yourself, how much of coping has been your music?
A lot. Before I started doing music, pretty seriously, I went a long time without leaving the house, maybe like 2 or 3 years where I'd probably leave the house maybe 100 days out of 365. I was always anxious. Everything was just too much. But obviously the music, and then through the music I was starting to write the lyrics about the things that I was going through, because I always, as well, I like my music to reflect like where I am in my life. So it was important for me that the music showed how I was doing, and obviously to show other people that it's totally fine to be struggling. It's really normal.
I think what's lovely about you is that you actually show that in not just your music, but everything that you do online as well. I don't know whether you fully realize that you do that, but you do. You're being very brave today because you're showing all of yourself here, which I know that's I know in some ways that's a struggle for you because you're quite a shy person.
Yeah.
when you turn up on social, one of the things that I love actually about your Instagram feed is it's full of your hands playing guitar. You're off to the side. But actually that works in quite a nice way, because do you know what? The amount of people that are trying to get into music and trying to play music and have picked up the guitar for the first time.
Yeah.
And we sit and you watch a musician play a guitar, but you only see a part of the guitar, and you can't ever see the head, the fretboard of the guitar here.
Yeah.
And you're therefore trying to work it out. With you, we don't need to do that because you're actually showing people all of the time how to play your songs. Have you had any comments from people at all going, do you know what? It's brilliant, Hollie. I can actually see what you're playing.
Yeah, there is a lot of people that will say, like, I've been looking for the chord progression for this song, but I can't find it. But obviously, I mean, my hands, I show the chord progression. It actually started as a way of when I'm on camera with my face, I always mess up. Like I would get like maybe 100 takes and get like one good one. Whereas with just the hand, it's a lot easier. I feel like I'm more myself when you can't actually see me.
It's funny because different people are different. You see,
Yeah. Yeah.
when I when I started in music to begin with, I mean, I was a singer,
Yeah.
first and foremost, and I always felt comfortable about that. Never ever felt that was a struggle. I could kind of inhabit an almost a persona, and as well as being me, and actually felt comfortable sort of with my voice,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean. But as soon as I started writing, after one band, I started writing songs and I started playing guitar in that band, and I was so conscious of playing. I found that really difficult because, especially when you had other musicians there that you knew were like fantastic guitarists or whatever, I became very conscious of that. So I never struggled with like being up front and being really in people's face. Still don't. But but the guitar thing, you see, I would struggle that way around. I would actually be like, oh my god, I'm showing my hands to everybody and what I'm doing, and they're going to be picking up on that. So it's funny, isn't it, how different people feel comfortable with different things. Where did you first start? Well, when did you first start picking up the guitar?
Well, I come from quite a musical family. So as long as I've known, my dad, he used to be a singer and a guitarist. He used to do gigs on his own. My grandparents, so whenever I would stay over, you know, my nana and my granddad, they would always be singing around the house. My brother plays guitar, so it's kind of just, you know, it's always been very normal to me. So yeah.
What sort of things were your nan and granddad singing? I always love these stories. What sort of things were you hearing?
They were opera singers.
Were they?
Yeah.
Wow.
They were part of the Operatic Society. So they were both opera singers. My dad was a lot of like 70s, 80s music. So all that, to me, that was like my childhood. Even though I wasn't born in the 70s and the 80s, that was a lot of my childhood was, you know, like older music. So yeah, it's always been very normal for me.
And what was the first sort of music you got into as a young person?
I listened to a lot of Fleetwood Mac. I still do now. My dad was very into like not just rock music, but like basically anything really, just any kind of genre. But yeah, it was a lot of like 70s, 80s, and a lot of the songs that my dad. So when I was younger, we would go and watch him while he performed. So there was a lot of not like cheesy music. I don't want to say cheesy music because nothing's really cheesy, but that kind of like I don't know how to describe it. Just like a lot of 70s and 80s music, really.
What's kind of defined your sound in terms of the way that you write it? Because you've got almost a folky underpinning to what you do, but in a quite alt way as well.
Yeah.
What is it that you know? Are there particular things you've listened to that have kind of pulled that out?
When I was in sixth form, because that's when I really started to. I took performing arts for A level, so that was kind of the time, you know, the beginning of where I could kind of suggest, you know, like let's do this song, and I listened to a lot of Daughter. They were like really bigger influence than what I did then. But yeah, I think I mean, I listen to a lot of the music that I listen to isn't really my genre that I perform. So
No,
like I like a lot of like Ozzy Osbourne, Fleetwood Mac, The Cranberries, Joni Mitchell, stuff like that. So it's I think it's a lot of people are sometimes surprised when they hear what I actually like to listen to versus what I actually make, if that makes sense.
yeah. So given the fact that that's what you listen to, and actually what you make doesn't necessarily fit into that mold,
Yeah.
how did you learn to craft your songs in the way that you did? Did that mean quite a lot of experimentation for you?
I think it just came naturally. I mean, I've never really sat down and thought. I mean, my genre of music, I think, is a bit of everything. You know, I've never really been fully certain as to what it is.
That's the
I
best
think
way.
it's yeah. I think it's just kind of what I sit down and decide to record on the day, really.
Yeah. So the topic of songs is really important to you. Obviously, you started
Yeah.
out by saying, you know, that the new EP is primarily around mental health. Is it
Yeah.
important in terms of who you work with then that their understanding of the topic as well?
Yeah. I mean, I always try and be very open about, you know, how I'm feeling on the day. I mean, like today, obviously, I'm quite nervous doing this. I always think
But you're doing very well.
I always think it's better to have, you know, somebody who not necessarily knows what you're going through, but is kind of willing to at least try and understand or learn, you know. Yeah.
What's what's your passion for the development of your career in music? Where would you like to see it take you, opportunity wise? I mean, is it purely in the music sphere, or do you want it to open up opportunities for you to talk to people about the things that you've been through?
I think a bit of both, really. I mean, this is kind of the only thing I've ever done and, you know, really wanted to do and kept at it. But again, I really think it's important for everyone to talk about mental health. So I do think that would be something that I would really like to do, you know, like I would like to be in a position to be able to show others, you know, that it's totally okay. Yeah, I mean,
We're seeing a lot of documentaries at the moment coming out from the likes of Lewis Capaldi, Ed Sheeran, etc., which are, you know, sort of going in behind the scenes of not only their music career but also their life,
yeah,
and some of the things that they've struggled with. You know, Lewis Capaldi, for example, with his Tourette's, and I'm seeing a new generation, if you like, of pop star or music star where it's okay for them to be really honest about the struggle and
yeah,
the journey, and what's, you know, that it's not that they're not this kind of shining light, whereas actually the generation of stars that you talked about at the time, you know, I think, and it's partly why a lot of them fell apart in the 70s, etc. They were
yeah,
on a pedestal, and
yeah,
actually they were almost like this kind of beacon that, you know, they had to be kind of perfect. Does that kind of fill you with sort of hope in a way that actually you can just literally be you, and it doesn't matter that, you know, you won't necessarily always want to do every interview
yeah,
or
definitely.
there's certain parts of the sort of, you know, making it in music process that you won't necessarily feel as comfortable with, but actually you feel that you'll be able to speak your voice in the way that you want to speak it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's no point in. I know it's difficult to talk about, you know, how you're feeling, but there's no point in lying about how you really feel. I think it's important that we all just, take a bit of time to not just show others that, how we're feeling, but also, ask how they're feeling. And I think now that it's more acceptable, not acceptable, but it's more, people talk about it more freely than they used to. I do think that, it's not a bad thing. It's definitely.
But in a way, the journey's therapy at the same time, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
said yourself that actually, if you'd have gone back a little bit in time, that you probably wouldn't have been able to have done this.
No, definitely
And
not.
now today you're doing this, and then tomorrow you might feel more comfortable with doing something else. I think for you, is that important as well, to show people that actually, if you take it at your own pace and do it step by step, you can actually you can come a long way.
Yeah. I mean, recovery isn't always, you're not always going to wake up and think, well, this is
Tomorrow,
I'm
yeah,
gonna be
it's
able
like,
to, yeah. So it's I think it's important to show the journey of, not everyone just can always be, happy, smiley, be able to do things that, you might be able to do another day. But I mean, tomorrow it could be a good day, it could be a bad day. You don't really know until the day comes.
What in terms of your progression as an artist, what would push you, do you think, to the next level, or what are you setting as ambitions, if you like, for yourself in the near future?
Well, the goal right now is just to be able to get out and be able to gig comfortably. I mean, now, I haven't done anything like that in a long time. Even back then, it was very challenging when I wasn't, my mental health wasn't as bad then as it. It's a lot better than it was, but when I first started to gig, it was kind of a bit easier. But the goal right now is to just be able to gig and look forward to it, and be comfortable while I'm doing it.
Yeah. Interesting question for you then. Do you feel that that's going to be easier with a small amount of people that you know, or a small amount of people you don't know, or actually is it easier with a larger group of people, or don't you know?
I think I'm more comfortable with people playing music to people that I don't know. I feel, very self-critical of myself, especially when there's people that know me. It's I feel like I have to put on like a better performance, like be better for them. Whereas I am generally more comfortable playing to people that I don't know.
Do you know what? I always felt the same in a way. I mean, I was thinking back to when we were young, and we used to do like gigs in a local church hall to family and friends. It was the most terrifying thing ever.
Yeah.
Because it was just everybody that you knew, and you just felt like there's an expectation of like, well, if it isn't, they don't like it, that it's kind of, it's actually quite personal that they don't like it, if you know what I mean. It's more about you than the music.
Yeah.
Whereas I quite enjoyed going to a festival and rocking up and just playing in front of a whole bunch of strangers, which, and you didn't know any of them. But it was like, well, that was quite refreshing in a way, because it was like, well, then, the next minute they're going to move on and go somewhere else. And, that's the end of the exchange. So would you feel that that's probably more where your comfort place might be, somewhere like that, where you can kind of just blend into the overall?
Yeah. Even sort of like, I feel like I've been more comfortable with a gig that wasn't in my hometown, because where I live, it's quite a small town. So everyone, you tend to know most people. I think even sort of, a place further out where nobody, you know, I wasn't at risk of anyone knowing that it was me, I think I'd probably be more comfortable doing that.
Can I definitely recommend then any kind of sort of like small stage gig at a festival for you? Because I think that the great thing about it as well is almost like people are traveling through.
Yeah.
And it's not like even that there's a necessarily an audience that have stopped or come for that evening to watch you. They're just kind of, people will stop, watch for a bit, wander on, and it just feels like it's all transient.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's a really good way of building your confidence, though, I think, is to do things like that where it doesn't, you know, it doesn't feel like all eyes are on you. You know, there's other sounds, other noises going on at the same time, and you know, you're just part of that overall.
Yeah.
Sometimes just from someone that's been there, got the t-shirt, it might be a really good way to go.
Yeah.
So the EP is on a pre-save at the moment. When's the EP due?
21st of June.
21st of June.
Yeah.
That's a little while. What's the time delay for? Are you perfecting things at the moment?
I'm just, well, it's mainly for I'm trying to see if I can make the Spotify the editorial playlists. So yeah. I'm hoping maybe this time I'll be successful.
I hope you will as well. I mean, in terms of local airplay and things like that, are you getting recognised quite a lot locally in terms of your music? Are you getting picked up by local radio stations, etc.?
I've been, BBC Introduced and have played. They played the first 2 tracks that came out in November. They played those quite a few times, and the latest single that will be on the EP, that's been, well, it's still getting airplay now, and then hopefully.
Where would young artists be without BBC Introducing? I think that's it's probably one of the best uses of people's license fee on the planet. I'm not sure that anything else is worth the money, but I think if nothing else, BBC Introducing is such a fantastic resource, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you could work with anybody, it's a question I ask quite a lot, but it's a great question. If you could work with anybody in the music industry, from past or present, who would that be?
Present would probably be Phoebe Bridgers, just because.
Brilliant.
Obsessed. Literally every song's perfect.
Yeah. Are you a big Boy Genius fan?
Oh, yeah. The latest album was so good. I like Joni Mitchell. I'd probably say Joni Mitchell as well, to be honest. Yeah.
Which period of Joni Mitchell do you like the best?
Oh, I don't know, because I really like
when her voice was up there or when her voice was down here. It's difficult, isn't it, with Joni? Because
I mean, I think her voice now, the album that she re-released,
Both Sides Now.
Yeah, that's that version of Both Sides Now. I think that's the best version on the newer album.
Yeah. It feels like it's a. Well, it feels like someone looking back, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really does feel like someone looking back, and it's so emotional. But what a great example for any singer-songwriter, especially any female singer-songwriter, of just doing your own thing and crafting your own way. You know, with all the critics over the years panned some of the work, especially sort of in the 80s or whatever, but you know, just following that kind of line of crafting out different things, and even her stuff with like Mingus, etc., the jazz elements, etc., absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Would you like to see your career progress like that in terms of sonic landscape? You would love to play, you know, as you develop as a musician as well, play with more musicians or different genres of music?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, that's like the ultimate goal, I think, would just be, you know, just music for the rest of my life. You know, that's, if I could make it something that would, you know, if I could make it become that, then that would be like the ultimate dream.
Well, let's ask people to help make that happen for you, because it all stems with the people out there.
Yeah.
You know, so folks, Hollie has a new EP coming out. She already has other music for you to listen to and enjoy across different platforms, which you can find from her links. Is it a link tree that you've got on Instagram or similar, isn't it? You've
Yeah, it's a similar one.
Yeah, you've got a set of links there, but you can pre-save the EP now. The more people that pre-save, the better it does in terms of Spotify. So, you know, make Hollie's day, would you please?
Please.
And go and pre-save on Spotify, if you would, whilst you've listened to this. And let her know if you enjoy her music. Do let her know what it means to you. And if you do watch her chord progressions on Instagram, and you can resonate with perhaps not necessarily wanting to get your face out and be loud all of the time like everybody else on Instagram, you know, do say some encouraging words along the line as well, because you know, all of those things make a difference to all of us in life.
Yeah.
Hollie, thanks for being brave today.
Thanks for having me.
And coming to speak to someone on one of these things. Please, if you've loved this, do share it, not for me, but for Hollie and for all of the other musicians that are on this as well. This has been My Music on a Friday afternoon. What better way to go into the rest of Friday than to listen to a little bit of Hollie's music? So please, as soon as you've stopped this now, go and do that and enjoy the wonderful sounds of Hollie. Until next time, bye for now.